Aloha and thank you for watching This Is Now. Today marks 3 months since the Maui wildfire disaster forever changed the Valley Isle. And today Governor Josh Green is holding a press conference to give an update on recovery efforts. Let's take you live to the governor's office.
Of the fuel at Red Hill by November 18th. The goal of the Red Hill Joint Task Force is to remove over 99% of the fuel by the end of January so we can continue with the plan to close that facility permanently, so that it's never again going to pose a threat to our health or the safety of our water. Gun buyback. On October 21st, the state held our first gun buyback event. In just a few hours, the Department of Law Enforcement and Public Safety were able to get almost 500 firearms off of our streets in exchange for Foodland gift cards, with no questions asked and no ID required. We collected ghost guns, sawed-off shotguns, many semi-automatic weapons, and even an Uzi. Our children and our communities are safer today because we took this direct action, and I've asked the directors of these departments to continue holding gun buyback events on a regular basis to get more guns off of our streets and protect our keiki from deadly violence. Next, the Healthcare Education Loan Repayment Program, HELP. This fall, we also announced a groundbreaking loan repayment program to address the growing shortage of doctors and other healthcare professionals across Hawaii. Developed by JABSM, the Healthcare Association of Hawaii, State Department of Health, me, and funded by the Hawaii State Legislature, the HELP program will provide an unprecedented $30 million in education loan debt repayment to healthcare professionals who are licensed or otherwise certified to provide care to our patients in Hawaii. A diverse list of healthcare professionals will qualify for loan repayments of up to $50,000 per year in exchange for 2 years of full-time or half-time service in Hawaii, provided that they give care to at least 30% of vulnerable patients in their practice. In this first month alone, we had over 800 applications for the HELP scholarships. This program will prioritize healthcare professionals with deep ties to our state, and we're placing an extra emphasis on selecting mental health care and addiction treatment professionals to address the heightened concerns we have that have arisen from the COVID era and the current crisis on Maui. This program will help ensure that rural and underserved communities across our state have access to the doctors, nurses, and other healthcare providers that they need. All of this is meant to help where we are as a state. Now I want to turn my attention to aid and assistance for Maui. Again, our hearts are broken for the 99 people that perished in the fire. Over the last 90 days, the American Red Cross, HAIMA, and FEMA have relocated thousands of displaced families to dozens of hotels and hundreds of short-term rentals on Maui. In the 14 days that started this crisis, the coalition successfully housed over 8,000 displaced people and hotel employees into more than 2,400 units across some 40 properties. To date, FEMA has received over 17,000 registrations for services and will support more than 18 months of rental assistance for survivors. We've already dispersed over $120 million in housing assistance to those affected by the disaster, and they will receive another $130 million in state and federal aid in the coming months. These accommodations continue to provide meals, casework service, financial recovery resources, and other disaster relief assistance to those affected, and will provide housing, medical care, mental health services, and other needed support to displaced families for as long as it's necessary. FEMA will assist us with direct leases and rental assistance grants to ensure that people stay housed well into 2025, and these costs will be covered by federal assistance, state resources, and humanitarian aid. If these housing options are not adequate for the people of West Maui, FEMA will authorize the construction of hundreds of transitional units in partnership with the mayor and our team in the region to make sure we have enough housing for our needs. I worked with President Biden and his administration directly to ensure that federal funds will pay for 100% of the debris removal that's going on and the emergency protection measures that we've been talking about in the disaster areas for 6 and 12 months respectively. This means that the federal government will help us with this crisis all the way. Generosity in the form of tens of millions of dollars continues to pour into Hawaii from around the world through the American Red Cross, the Hawaii Community Foundation, the Maui United Way, and other organizations. I've authorized $100 million from a special Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Fund, it's called TANF, to match what others donate, effectively doubling the power of their contributions to help affected families pay for housing, transportation, food, clothing, and other needs. To date, nearly 1,000 families have applied for these funds. We've begun to also provide relief to local businesses in the form of emergency grants distributed by the Maui Economic Opportunity Team aimed at preventing bankruptcies. Working with House and Senate leaders and in partnership with Maui County, we've made $12.5 million available in the form of forgivable loans, up to $20,000 each, to help local businesses survive and recover. This complicated effort has started slowly, but we will soon accelerate it to help businesses across Maui. The One Ohana Initiative. These programs I've just described, developed with public officials, community, and business leaders from across the state, are what we refer to as the One Ohana Initiative. It was created to provide resources and support local families, as you hear, affected by the Maui fires and other emergency needs. An important new part of the One Ohana Initiative, which I'd like to announce this moment, right now, is the Maui Recovery Fund. This is intended to rapidly provide funds to Maui families who have lost loved ones or who have suffered serious injuries in the fires. It will be modeled after the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund that was created to support families who lost loved ones in that tragedy. Participation in the Maui Recovery Fund will be completely voluntary, and the goal is to get as much money as possible to affected families as quickly as possible, cutting out delays and eliminating uncertainty. We already have commitments of over $150 million to the Maui Recovery Fund from our initial partners, which include State of Hawaii, Maui County, Kamehameha Schools, and Hawaiian Electric. In the coming weeks, we anticipate many other organizations across Hawaii and individuals will join this coalition to support those affected and help them recover. Our message should be clear. In Hawaii, during difficult times, we come together to help one another. And right now, we are coming together to help those who have suffered the most. Over time, the fund will also be used to help families in West Maui recover from the disaster in other ways, including rebuilding homes that they've lost. And in order to finance this next phase of the recovery effort, all options will be considered to supplement charitable giving, including securitization plans that are in the interest of all of Hawaii. To protect customers from significant increases in their energy bills as a result of the fire, a comprehensive legislative package will be submitted to protect consumers while allowing for fund generation going forward, to improve and harden the grid, to address the impacts of climate change, and to establish a program to provide coverage for future catastrophic events, and to keep homeowners insurance available and affordable for all of us. All of these actions will be taken to better protect Hawaii from fire risks going forward. In the coming weeks, we'll be holding meetings on Maui with potentially eligible individuals and their families and their advisors in this phase of the recovery to listen to their concerns and to make more details about the fund available, including information on eligibility, expected availability of payments, and other aspects of the fund. Finally, our road to recovery. The state has received assurances of continued federal support and investment to help Maui recover and rebuild, and will support and care for those affected by this disaster for as long as it takes. As governor, I will continue to make sure that Maui receives every resource possible and that these resources get directly to the people who need it. As I've said before, the people of Lahaina will have as much time as they need to heal and recover, and will begin to rebuild only when the people of Maui are ready, according to the timeline they choose. To help support those affected by the Maui fires, we continue to ask people to give to the American Red Cross or to the Hawaii Community Foundation's Maui Strong Fund, both of which will make sure the resources go to those in need. Again, I'd like to say I'm incredibly proud of the entire Maui community for their courage and commitment as they continue to show aloha and support to those affected, and for their patience during the process of recovery. I'll continue to keep you updated on our aid and relief efforts as we move forward, both in daily updates and in more comprehensive monthly assessments of our efforts. It's going to be a long process for us to rebuild and heal, and we're grateful to all of those who have shared their love and support, all of it going to Maui, and all of the Hawaii state from across the country and around the world. You guys have been extraordinary. Keep hanging together. Right now, it's important that we come together completely as a state, as one Ohana, to support each other and offer to help those who need it the most, the families who've suffered tragedy. Please continue to keep Maui and our entire state in your hearts and your prayers. Aloha.
And that is Governor Josh Green giving an update on the Maui wildfire disaster recovery efforts. He announced a Maui recovery fund for fire survivors. He said it's intended to rapidly provide funds to Maui families who have lost loved ones, those specifically, or who have suffered serious injuries in the fire. Now, he says it's going to be modeled after the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund that was created to support families who loved lost ones in that tragedy. He says participation in the new Maui Recovery Fund will be completely voluntary, and the goal is to get as much money as possible to these affected families and as quickly as possible by cutting out some delays and eliminating uncertainty. He said they have commitments of over $150 million to the fund from initial partners, and that includes the state, Maui County, Kamehameha Schools, and Hawaiian Electric. He said in the coming weeks, they anticipate other organizations and individuals will help join this coalition to support those affected and to help them recover. Now, an update we have on the access to the Lahaina burn zone. More Lahaina residents will soon be allowed back to their properties. Access will be granted starting Friday inside zones 9E and 10E. That covers areas including Hauola and Kahula places, along with Lahaina Luna Road. You can head to mauirecovers.org for a full map of where the restrictions are being lifted. Vehicle passes, of course, are required for the first 2 days of re-entry into the zone. We want to take you live outside now for a live look at Honolulu. You can see blue skies, some gray clouds there off in the distance as we celebrate this Aloha Wednesday. Guy Hagi's going to have much more in your first alert forecast after a quick break.
How's it on this Wednesday? The trade winds are leaving town for the next couple of days, and because of this disturbance up to the northeast, we're going to get Kona winds today. And that means morning sunshine, afternoon clouds, and a few spotty showers. This morning, we're getting a few trade showers as well, but those showers and the showers for the next couple of days will not be widespread or too heavy. And the winds will be coming in from the southeast. That means it's going to be a little bit more humid than it's been the last couple of days, and these Kona winds are expected expected to stay through tomorrow before trade winds come back over the weekend. So again, not a lot of rain out there. Clouds building in the afternoon with a slightly higher humidity levels and that onshore sea breeze, and we'll likely get a few spotty showers into the early evening, but those showers will not be widespread, and they won't amount to very much. Surf's going to be relatively small island-wide, except for that trade swell, which is hanging on over on the east side. Small kind in town, but at least in town, even though it's going to be onshore and sloppy, the box jellyfish should be gone. So we've got the Kona winds today and tomorrow, slightly elevated humidity levels, but rainfall will be minimal, maybe some spotty afternoon showers. And then the trades build in starting tomorrow through the weekend. In fact, early next week, the winds are expected to be near advisory or warning levels on Monday and Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. Starting today, upcountry Maui will be under a stage 2 water shortage notice. A continued lack of rain is partly to blame. County water officials say demand is exceeding supply by 20% in their upcountry service area, which includes Makawao, Upper and Lower Kula, Haiku, and others. Consumers are being told to stop non-essential use, including watering lawns and washing cars. Water rates are not being changed at this time. Now, the search continues for a murder suspect after a 62-year-old man was stabbed to death in Nanakuli. It happened just after 6:30 last night near the McDonald's on Farrington Highway. A caller told police she saw the victim being assaulted by a male suspect. Now, officers found the victim unresponsive, and efforts to resuscitate him were unsuccessful. He was pronounced dead at the scene, and the suspect fled, and it's believed he and the victim knew each other. Now, the suspect is considered armed and dangerous. He's described as 5'8", 135 pounds, with dark hair and dark eyes. Police say they've recovered a pair of scissors and a knife at the scene. A former Milani High School athletics director who stole more than $400,000 from the Booster Club will not go to prison. Prosecutors asked for a 10-year sentence for Glenn Nita. Instead, he got 4 years of probation. Nita spent 48 years at Milani High as a teacher, counselor, coach, and athletics director. And during his final 5 years, he used the Booster Club's money to fund personal trips, and he did not pay any taxes on the income. Nita was also ordered to pay back the $406,000 he stole, which he did immediately after his sentencing. Well, to national news now, the stage is set for the third Republican primary debate in Florida, with 5 candidates weighing in on the issues on voters' minds. Now, that includes abortion, inflation, and the ongoing war in the Middle East and Ukraine. Former President Donald Trump, the GOP frontrunner at the moment, is holding his own event. He's not participating in the debate, pitting those on stage in a battle to break away from the pack. Christian Benavides reports from Miami.
5 Republican presidential hopefuls meet for a third debate tonight, looking to make their case to voters from a stage in South Florida. The state's Governor Ron DeSantis, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, Senator Tim Scott, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy are all set to spar on foreign and domestic issues.
I think it'll be a good debate. It seems like it's a good setup.
The candidates are debating for the first time since the outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas, presenting an opening for Haley, who also served as ambassador to the UN.
We've got our dearest friend Israel. They're fighting for their life.
Haley is one of the few candidates who've been gaining ground in the Republican primary race. All are hoping to come away as the clear alternative to former President Trump. The GOP frontrunner is skipping the debate here in Miami as he did the first two and holding his own rally nearby in Hialeah.
We're going to win the state in a landslide next November, just like we've done twice.
A recent CBS News poll finds Trump holding a commanding lead over his Republican rivals in the 2024 race. 61% of likely GOP primary voters have indicated they would vote for Trump today.
Down to 5 people, it's going to be a little bit more useful than 7 children.
Ramaswamy, the youngest candidate in the race, held a rally in Miami Tuesday, looking ahead to a smaller field facing off on the stage tonight. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
And with the debate tonight, we have the programming note for you. We will be carrying the debate on KHNL from 3 to 6 o'clock. So you will have your local news on K5 at 4:30, and 5 p.m. Our 5 p.m. newscast will be on KGMB only. We now have an update on the Milani Mauka wildfire. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service assumed command of the blaze this morning, which has so far scorched more than 1,600 acres and is now 90% contained. So the fire is located in a remote mountainous area with steep and dangerous terrain on private lands, Kamehameha School's lands, and the Oahu Forest National Wildlife Refuge. Officials say there has been minimal fire activity because of the recent rain in the area, and the blaze did not grow yesterday, so it has remained at 90% contained. 66 personnel, including a hotshot crew, a wildland crew, smoke jumpers, and 2 helicopters, have been assigned to the fire. Now turning back to the Lahaina disaster, so many lives were cut short, each with a story to tell. Fathers and mothers, grandparents and grandchildren, neighbors and friends. And as we mark 3 months since the tragedy, we want to take a moment to remember those we lost. Here's Dylan Ancheta.
So many lives were lost in Lahaina, each with a story to tell. Mothers and fathers, grandparents and grandchildren, neighbors and friends. As we mark 3 months since the devastating wildfires, we pause to honor those we lost. The youngest known fatality was Tony Takafua. He was just 7 years old. He was identified on August 24th, and unfortunately, he wasn't the only one from his family killed. He was found alongside his mom, Solote Takafua, and her parents, Fa'aso and Malui Fonua Tone. Their bodies were found in a burned-out car near their home. Sadly, there were other children killed in the inferno. Authorities have told us of 2 other children who died, including 11-year-old Justin Recolizado and 14-year-old Quiero Fuentes. Both lived in Lahaina. For Fuentes, his family came together on what would have been his 15th birthday. Traffic blocked his adoptive mother from getting to him as the flames raged. At one point, she ran on foot past a police blockade in an attempt to get to him. 2 days later, the family finally made it to the devastated home.
But when I got to his bedroom, he was there, lying and hugging my dog. But he was not as I expected, in ashes. God maintained him like this, so we knew it was him.
The eldest of the known fire victims was 98-year-old Louise Abihai of Lahaina. Her remains were found in the rubble of the senior affordable housing community Halemahaolu Eono. Her grandson Clifford said the FBI identified her through dental records and DNA. Louise was a pillar of their family, having grown up on the Valley Isle, raising multiple generations of children.
Strongest person in our family. She was still walking a mile a day. She did everything from folding clothes at hotels, receptionist, bartender, the front desk, she did it. She did everything.
Other lives lost include a beloved EMT, 43-year-old Tony Simpson, who was off duty when he was killed. A caring father known for his humor and generosity and career as an electrician, 86-year-old Joseph Lara. Lori Allen tried to make it out of the burn zone on foot by running through a flaming field. She was badly burned and fought for her life for more than 7 weeks in an Oahu burn unit. Franklin Trejos, 68, died shielding a friend's golden retriever after trying to save nearby homes. And Alfredo Galindo, 79, also died while trying to save the home he'd worked so hard to build. To the world, the Lahaina disaster is the deadliest wildfire in more than a century. To Hawaii, the fire in Lahaina is a tragedy with little comparison. Together, we mourn each of the lives lost.
as we remember those who lost, we want to say a big mahalo to the families and friends who have shared pictures and stories of their loved ones so that we can all honor them, not only today, but going forward as well. Now, we want to remind you that we have a Q&A with the governor coming up later, and we will bring that to you live on HNN's digital platforms. We'll be asking him about the Maui recovery efforts, as well as some of the new information he announced today. Thank you so much for watching this